Okay. We are doing a tour of the databases today. What? Oh, that's awesome. What a day already. Right, but at least I was able to log in. That's a step up from Monday. Good morning. You're going to be recorded. Don't worry about it. Okay. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is, when we record this, I might use it in my internet classes so that they can come back, because they're putting it on a YouTube link. In the spring, there's always high school kids gone. Okay, great. And so this will work out. So we're not connected yet. Even the little red dot says they're recording now. Okay. So I went to the website to try to find the map of the leveling campus, and I couldn't find it.
I have a map if you want a map.
Well, I'm just, what is TC? Which building is TC? Is that the building that's right connected to the Student Union building? Is that the Technology Center?
Probably.
Okay.
Would have the big lab.
Okay. I'm gonna monitor one of the rooms for ready writing on Friday, so.
Let me go get one to be sure, because it's all labeled on the map.
I'm thinking that's what it is, but I'm assuming we're gonna let them use the computers there, so. Oh. No messages. Awesome. Okay, it's dark. I bet that's what it is, I'm thinking.
I think they're all labeled.
Yeah. 19, so let's see, 18. I have to get my head convoluted. Yeah, it's the ones that it's connected to the Student Union, which is 29, yeah. That's what I was thinking. So that's interesting, okay. They decided to, oh, there's 3 of our schools. We're missing Crosbyton's not there. Good morning. How's it going, Lorenzo? Are we still waiting for people to come in? Okay. I see Smyer. I see Woman Union. How's everybody doing? Crosbyton is dark for some reason. The lights are out. Nobody's home. We've got Miss Tracy Pineda today. She's going to be showing us how to use the databases at South Plains College online, so that you don't have to come out here to do it. I don't know about you guys, but I woke up this morning with all kinds of sinus problems, I guess from the dust yesterday. So the good news is we're videoing this, so if somebody's going to miss it, we'll have it on, hopefully the YouTube will work. I was able to log in. It's a step up from Monday. So this is about, there's Crosbyton coming in now. This is about how to use the databases to find information to write those Hamlet research papers. Once again, you need to be very conscious of using the databases so that you get an authority, somebody who knows what they're writing about. I have a Frankenstein paper that came in from my internet sophomore college class, and somebody used a Prezi that they found online. And Chris Smith was the author of it. We have no idea who Chris Smith is. He has 3 pictures on this Prezi. One about Adam, one about Satan, and one about the monster. which indicates to me that this was a student's product. So that's why I prefer that you use databases. If you have to go out and Google something to find information, you need to clear the source with me. So right now, Ms. Pineda's going to come up here and talk to you guys, okay? I did send handouts to you that she's got here. I also provided the facilitators with a PDF of MLA 8, and hopefully they can print one and keep it in room unless you got one with your books. They had a supplement with the books they gave us last year, okay? So, do you need to log in, or you could, if you want to show them on the document camera, it's not a problem, just let me know and I'll push the button. This is her first time to do ITV, so we'll switch places. Okay. But everything's just controlled from up here, so. And the microphone picks up very easily, so.
Okay, great.
Which, just to give you a heads up, here's the microphone, so.
All right, thank you. And if there are questions along the way, can they just chime in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be sure and, if you don't understand something, be sure and ask, please.
Good morning. My name is Tracy. I'm one of the librarians here at Reese. I'm going to walk you through using MySPC to get to the databases that your teacher was talking about. A couple of the handouts that you have.
So put them over into that light. I will. Switch over to the document camera, okay?
This one right here.
Okay, let's see. I have it down here. This is Zoom out. Okay.
There's information here with our contact phone number and email address. It also mentions a chat box. So if you need to be in touch, you can use this number or this email to contact us. Our location here at Reese is in Building 8. If you needed to come over, if you wanted a place, if you're around the Lubbock area and you needed to use computers or to come pick up a book or something like that, there's information on here that we give to all of the classes that we talk to. So that's what that one is about.
It's actually just about the entrance to the library is about 15 feet away from the door into this classroom, so.
Yes, we're in the same building. The other that I've given you is going to mirror what we're going to look at.
Other way, yeah, just like you would look at it.
Yeah. It's going to mirror what we're going to look at on the computer. Just a reminder about how to get to the library page from within MySPC. So one side of it, I don't know if you can see it there. Maybe it's just my handout. Anyway, it says something about how to find library resources in MySPC. And the other side, which again, let me get another one. Interesting. None of mine say anything. The other one mentions the database finder, and it points you to the database finder and the section on English. And those are the different collections that would have the journal articles in databases that would help you with this assignment. So anyway, let me get into MySPC and show you how that works.
Okay, so we'll go over to PC now.
Yes. Okay. The key here is, of course, to log in first. Your teacher has logged in. You would log in, and on the lower left,
you can shrink that a little bit, or
okay.
Control minus will shrink. So you can.
There you go. There's a link to the SPC library, and the key, of course, is logging in first, so that when you click that link, it will take you to the library page inside MySPC, and not a dead link.
If they just go to MySPC library link, if they just Google it, to be able to find anything, they'll have to log in.
Yes, everything is behind this framework. You can't just pull up information just Googling and get into our databases. It's all behind the framework of MySPC. The other thing, when you click on library, you're going to get more information about how to contact library staff. And that can be Levelland, Reese, or even Plainview. And that section's here in the middle with phone numbers and email addresses. The contact list for all the staff is there as well. Levelland and Reese, and I'm there, Tracy, right there sort of in the middle under Reese. Robert and Juanita and Janet are all available here at Reese as well. Juanita is a native of Lorenzo, so welcome. Hey, Lorenzo, from the library here. We love Lorenzo and all the different communities around this area. So please be in touch if you need to. We'd love to help you out. Now for this assignment, you are going to need to find some journal articles, and there is a section within our page on MySBC, and it's labeled Journal Databases or Journal Articles, and there's some database links there. The handout shows the database finder, and there's a link to that under the Journal Articles section here in the middle, and also over on the left. So it's in two places on this page. Now you will also see the ebook collections and the catalog, and all of this you can explore on your own if you want to. If you have questions, you can be in touch. But the part we're going to focus on today will be the journal articles. So I'm going to click on the database finder. And over on the left, there is a link that says English.
Is that the one that says English Espanol?
Yes. And a student asked, does that mean these are the databases in English versus the ones in Spanish? It's like, no, it really does mean the databases for the English classes, the Comp 1 and Comp 2 in those classes. We do have databases that are in Spanish, so that's why that's there.
I blow it back up now.
Okay. And in the collections, you'll see many different choices. I'm going to get into the Literature Resource Center. That's a ENGL product because it does contain articles from academic journals that have literary criticism. And it always promotes different authors and works, featured author, featured work. And at the top, of course, there's a search box. Anything so far? Any questions so far? Or?
Y'all following this? I see some of you got, Hunter, Connor, Sarah, you guys able to follow along on your computers? Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Now, if you were just to type in Hamlet in the search box, you could do that. I want to make sure and show you how to focus the search, limit it, tweak it, whatever. Whatever you type in, you're going to get a drop down below that that's going to show other searches people have done, and sometimes that's very helpful. If you see something in the list that you think would be good to pursue, maybe in another search, go ahead and make note of it, because a lot of times, you'll start in one place with one type of search, and then you'll discover things along the way. Well, you definitely want to use that information. I'm going to click on the little magnifying glass.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot there. Now, this entry here, that's just going to tell you an overview, basically, about Hamlet. Over on the right, you'll see different content types. The literature criticism, over 10,000 items are listed there. Biographies, overviews, reviews and news, primary sources, and more. Now, if you wanted to at this point, let's just take a look down below there before I tell you what that I was about to tell you. You could see the beginning of the results for the literature criticism.
10,000 is a lot.
Yeah, and that was a very, very broad search. There's so much information there. You don't want to, start just having to look through every single one of these. On the right, you will see ways to limit your search. The subjects are listed. If you open the plus sign there, you can actually see that Hamlet, the play, is a subject all its own, and there are 279, and that's a lot more manageable number than 10,000. So if you wanted to at this stage, you could click on that and just see what the 279, or the first, 20 or 50 or whatever. You could do that and browse through that. That's a more manageable number. Persons, name of the work, that's pretty much like the subject. That's a good way to focus, because you definitely want information about Hamlet the play, and not a novel called Hamlet or a poem that mentions the name Hamlet or something like that.
There's also some kind of scientific research thing called Hamlet.
Yes, definitely. So there are all kinds of other things, so you definitely want to focus on the play. So that would be a good choice. Authors, of course, you're going to be looking for not Grace Tiffany or William Safire, but William Shakespeare. Publication title, you could do this, but you may not have any clue what titles are out there, so this is not necessarily the best way to go. Critical essays and articles would be good. You might want to stay away from book reviews, because they're not really going to be the kind of articles that you need for this
Yeah,
assignment.
that's just somebody's review of a book that was written about it, or about the play, or a performance of the play.
Right. Now this is a box right here above all that that might be very helpful to you now. For example, search within the results. You have all these different results. If you want to focus on a particular theme or a plot device or something like that, you could take advantage of this box. I'm not sure how what your assignment offers you as far as how you're going to limit your paper, what aspect of Hamlet you're going to focus on. I think it's interesting to look into the conscience. How does the conscience play into, Hamlet's conscience, Gertrude's conscience, guilt, things like that. If I wanted to search for those particular topics or those words in the different results I've already got, I could type that word in.
I had to look up how to spell conscience last night.
Yes. Conscience, that's basically how I remember it. And then I'll click on the magnifying glass. It's narrowed down my result list significantly. And now, if I wanted to say, okay, I want to focus just on the play, Hamlet the play, I could click there. I only have 73 to choose from now instead of 10,000. My search results and my limiters are displayed over here. I can see that conscience is part of my search. Hamlet, the play, the name of the work is part of the search. So every one of these particular results is about Hamlet, the play, and the word conscience should be in that article somewhere. And this, it starts literary criticism 73. If I just want to click on that and have only the results show the criticism, I could click right there. Because what I'm looking at here, there's 1, 2, 3, and then it says show more results, and it moves on to the section on biographies. So if I want to stay within this section about literary criticism, I'm going to go ahead and click on literature criticism. I can click on a title. If I wanted to listen to it, I could listen to it. I tried this out on my smartphone, to just listen to the article from there. It's not the ideal way to search things, but anywhere you can get to the internet, anywhere you can get to my SBC, whether it's on a tablet, your PC, laptop, or phone, you can access this information.
Now, an overview, though, is probably just going to be basically a summary of the
Yes. This might give you an idea. You might get some more keywords that you could plug into another search. Kind of get an idea of different themes in Hamlet that you might be able to use to do another search. All the results that have full text, whether it's this overview or an article from a journal, you're going to see the tools over on the right. The citation tools over here, that will help you to cite your source. The particular article that I had on the screen, that chapter, I believe it was a chapter, I'd have to go back to be sure. Here we go. Reference Guide to English Literature, edited by D.L. Kirkpatrick. This is a reference work, so it probably was an entry there, like a chapter or a section. This is the citation in MLA 8.
That's good. That means you don't have to try to figure it out.
Right. You don't have to do
That's the other advantage to using these databases, because they will provide you, everybody's, Gale and EBSCO are both updated right now to 8.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're going to give you the correct version, most likely.
And you can copy and paste this. You can export it if you have access to these different tools here. OneDrive, if you're using Microsoft Office 365 through the school, you have access to OneDrive. You may have some of these others. Otherwise, you can copy and paste. Always compare it to the style guide that you get from your teacher or one that you found online from a reliable source, so that sometimes there's a program, a computer program that reads these things in, and sometimes they do things like they overcapitalize, or they may do some strange things to the citation. But most of the time, you're about 90%
Would download also download it though, just the citation?
You could download it. This one will be in HTML format, just like that. So if you're doing cut and paste, it'd be pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
The one thing that we know consistently doesn't usually transfer when you copy and paste is this hanging indent. The indentation there.
Which is important, that hanging indent. So
you have to do that yourself. Let's see. I may have totally gotten out of that.
Do you want to do an advanced search?
Yes. I think I clicked off of it, so let me go back. I'm going to go ahead and, as your teacher was suggesting, let's do an advanced search here. The advanced search gives you the same options. You can just sort of do them all up front. You've got several search boxes here. I'm going to put in Hamlet. Now, I already know from my previous search that Hamlet, the play, I could search for that as a subject. So instead of keyword, I could leave it that way, but I'm going to go ahead and open that box and select subject, because I want Hamlet, the play, to be the subject. And then I could go in there and put something else. If I'm looking for information about the ghost, what's the role of the ghost in Hamlet, or supernatural things in Hamlet? I could type that in. I do not want Ghostbusters. I'll just stick with my ghost word there. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know it's not the name of the work. It may not be the subject even. It may just be, there may be just some information in an article about Hamlet, the play, along with a lot of other information. So I can look through and say keyword. Maybe that would be a good choice.
But they need to be aware that if you select subject, then it'll keep moving down. They need to make sure that they don't. One of the reasons why sometimes they can't find results is because they haven't changed that little box right there to say keyword off of name or something.
Right. And so now I have these results. Literature criticism 34. And I may not know until I get into some of these articles and open them up to see, where do they mention the ghost or the word ghost. When I click on the title of the article, I can open it, or I can go down underneath here and say download the PDF. And there it opens up. Now sometimes if the PDF, if the document has gone through that optical character recognition, I was going to say OCD, it's OCR, you'll be able to search it. And oftentimes there'll be some sort of magnifying glass or something like that that will let you do a search box. Sometimes even just the Control F find might work. We'll see if this one...
Okay. She hit Control and then pushed down, held Control down and then pushed the F, and that brought open a search box.
And this one, I don't know that this one's going to work here.
Maybe
to do it. We'll do Hamlet again.
Since this looks like it could be several different places.
I think this way it probably was not scanned that way.
Okay.
So let me go back a little bit. I'm going to click here. Because with Gale, another good feature is the downloading got me the PDF version that looked like the original, like a photocopy from the original journal. Here I have the HTML version, the full text. And that is handy because now I can look for the word with that Control F, that find, and it will show me in the article where the word shows up. And that could get me to a section that I want to look at.
So that you don't have to read. Sometimes these articles are very long, 20 and 30 pages. So instead of having to read the entire article or skim the entire article, this way this can speed up your research process. Trust me, it's a lot easier to do this than it is to do what I had to do 25 years ago getting my master's.
Yes. Everything was in books, and you go from one to the other in the stacks. And this shows this word ghost shows up 16 times in this article. So I can go through and find the sections it talks about. Let me enlarge that now. Okay. So the HTML can be a really handy option to have, and not all databases will do that, but the GALE collections do.
But for their purposes, for research, it's probably better to, could they copy, cut, and paste the HTML, or would it be just easier to download the PDF? The PDF gives you page numbers, and for citing parenthetical reference, the page number's better.
Right. So you have the best sort of both worlds that way. Well, let me go back and show you another tool. Here's one, Sulphurous and Tormenting Flames, Understanding the Ghost in Hamlet. If I wanted to save it, I could, of course, like we did a minute ago, download it and keep it. You don't have to print everything. If you are doing some research and you don't have time to decide which articles you want, if you only need 2, you may look at 10 or more and just need to look at them at a time later on, different from when you're actually able to do the research online. So you can take advantage of the email tool that's over here on the right. And when you do that, you would mail it to yourself. And you can use the email, whatever email address you use all the time. If it's the South Plains College email, great. But it doesn't have to be. One recommendation is please try to keep track of where you send the documents so you don't have to go back and hunt later.
Yeah. Is this the article?
Yes, it's going to be. It says mail to and sender email. The mail to is required. Sender email, you don't have to put that. If you're sending it to yourself, you know who you are. The subject line, it starts with Literature Resource Center. And if you wanted to put some other note to yourself about something specific in the article, you could do it.
Oh, and I can click on that send item as attachment.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can download it, and it's easier than copying it out of the email.
Right. And it might also just guarantee that you don't just get a link. A student came in fact, yesterday, and she had sent herself links rather than sending herself the documents. Mm-hmm. And because it pulled up in her email and not directly in MySPC, it wouldn't open the articles as easily. So that is something you could do. Also, make sure here this has PDF as attachment or citation with link to document. Those, no. The full text, there's that option down there as well.
Yeah, you want the full text.
Mm-hmm. And then you can send it. It's not mentioning sending the citation with this, but I believe you'll get it. And because this is the GALE Literature Resource Center, I believe that the default is already MLA. In fact, at the bottom of just about every item in this collection, if you scroll to the very bottom,
you'll find the MLA file.
You'll find the citation.
Yeah.
It's already there as well.
It's already there. Okay, cool.
So that's
good to know. That's when you're in, was that Literature Resource Center?
This is Literature Resource Center.
There's 2 very, very close. It's Literature Resource Center and Life.
The one right above that is Literary Criticism Online. Well, actually, it's Literary Reference Center from EBSCO. That's another company that we use, a really big information
EBSCO stands for Encyclopedia Britannica System, right? That's what the ED is.
It might have. I'm not sure. It might have in the beginning. They've got so many more things. They are a major player in information services. So there you have that. Other tools: download, print, saving, highlighting. The save, that is if you wanted to set up your own little folder here at the database. Do you want to take a look at EBSCO or?
Yeah, let's look at that one.
Okay, we'll go back. The EBSCO database, of course, was just above this one that we're looking at.
The reason these are selected or chosen is because most of the time you can get full text. It's easily accessible. A lot of those other English resources, many of them don't have full text. You have links and you have to get permission and all that stuff, so.
Yes, example here, on this list, Modern Language Association, that's a link on that database finder list. The MLA's been around for many, many decades. But if you were to go into that database, you could find information, but you're not going to find much full text. There is an option to link to whatever full text might be available through this EBSCO company, but you're not going to find as much. So Literary Reference Center and Literature Resource Center are going to give you some results immediately, but you can look through everything.
Y'all paying attention? Need to look up at the screen, people.
This Literary Reference Center, you're going to get a lot of the same options, but they are also including information from some different books that deal with literary criticism. So they're included as well. They have their reference shelf. They also promote different featured works and authors and things like that.
I don't know, thing's been up there for a while.
You do have options just like you did in the other collection from Gale. Keyword search, author, and title. Now this is in the basic search. You go into the advanced search, you're going to get, primarily you'll see 3 boxes. Most of them give you an option if you really wanted to get specific and you needed more to add different layers, different rows that you could put in other words. Most of the time you don't need to, but you can if you want to. We know Hamlet. Again, Hamlet in Purgatory, Hamlet of Stepney Green, all kinds of other things. Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. I'm going to stick with Hamlet and choose a field. I'm going to go with subjects again, although some of them will let you do name of work. I'm not sure if that one is on here at the moment. I'm just going to go with subject for the moment. And then I can go in here and put in any other important concept, plot or what.
How about, let's put women.
Women, okay.
Anybody thinking about looking at the women in Hamlet's life?
And then I can decide, do I want to search for the word women in all of the text? That's like all document or whatever it was in the other one. Or as another subject. I'm going to see if women is also a subject in some of this. I can go below there and decide up front, full text only the items. Let me enlarge it a little bit. Only return results that have the full text of the articles with them. Don't show anything that does not have the full text. If I check that box,
I would check that one, definitely.
If I only want scholarly or peer-reviewed journals, I could do that. Now, most everything is probably already going to be from a peer-reviewed or academic journal in this collection. So in this case, you probably could leave that off. The publication date probably won't matter for this assignment because the play was published, I think it said 1603,
Somewhere around in there.
Hundreds of years ago, so there's a lot of information out there that goes way beyond the usual 5 or 10 year limits that other classes might put on you. I'm going to click on the search button and wait for those results. White on white. Ophelia. Here's a book called Women in Shakespeare.
PDF full text.
It says it's an encyclopedia entry for Ophelia. Let's see what it says. It might provide some information. It might be great as in and of itself, but it also might give you some information you could use to do another search.
That's tiny.
Let me enlarge.
A little information about her name, that it means help her.
So if you wanted to save this, to kind of look over it again later, or maybe look at it and then consider it in light of another article or something you find, you still have tools over on the right. Printer tool, email, saving, if you wanted to create your own. There's a sign-in link up here. That means you can sign in or make your own account not like a MySBC account, but a place where you can stash articles and things all on your own for future reference. The little page that looks like a yellow piece of paper, that's just a citation link, so you can see the citation. One thing in this particular database you need to be careful of are the different citation styles. The very first one is ABNT, which are the Brazilian national standards, and are not what you need for this particular assignment. So if you scroll down, you'll find MLA. If you need the citation for it, which you will. If you go to the envelope, you can send yourself the article just like you could in the other database.
Oh, it allows you to use the citation format too. Okay.
Do that. Again, you just email it to yourself.
I have to delete all these, huh?
Yeah, I have a lot in my email now. Some subject that you'll recognize, you know, Ophelia or whatever. PDF is a separate attachment. By default, that's checked, so you would attach it, and then go down to the citation format and just make sure you switch that to MLA. Otherwise, you won't get the right one. And if you don't catch it, you know, you'll have the wrong one that you plug into your paper, or you'll have to go back and find it, and then send. And it's done. And you can send yourself just as many items as you want. You know, you don't have a certain limit with that. Any questions?
How y'all doing so far? You understand how to use this?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little bit about Boolean searches? How to?
Yes.
If they end up having to go out on Google, I mean, that might help them prevent them from getting just anybody out there, maybe.
If you want, if you want to talk about the internet a little bit and how to maybe have a little bit more control of your searches there. So you'll go out to Google. If I were just saying, okay, if you had to imagine where some great information would be about Hamlet on the internet, and I had to choose a domain, and you know, a domain would be like .com or whatever. Think about some different domains that are out there. You have .com, what else?
What would be at the end of the White House if it was something from the government? What would be the last three letters? You know, like .com is commercial. So what shows that something's from the government? What would be the three letters that signal that? Do y'all know?
.gov.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about education?
.edu.
Yeah.
EDU, okay.
So like Harvard University, MIT, some of these other major, Texas Tech and others would end in .edu. If you wanted to limit your results to a particular domain, you can do that. And you just add this site limiter, SITE, and a colon, and then .edu. And then you can add your search terms. So if I put in Hamlet and Ophelia, and you know, I can keep adding terms. And if I don't want to use add, I could just use plus signs, you know, plus Hamlet, plus Ophelia, meaning those words have to be in my results.
Well, it's easier to type in, isn't it?
Yeah, keep my fingers on the keyboard. And I was thinking about MIT because yesterday I came across, you know, like the complete Shakespeare, you know, the text of all these different plays at MIT. Ophelia's Madness, Shakespeare, Hawksight, SUNY, New Paltz.
Okay, that would be acceptable.
You can click in there.
David Tennant version.
And some, you know, maybe talking about different productions or analyzing those productions. You might try Google Scholar. The other thing you could do is there is another limiter I believe, I forget if it's how to do the format, but you could put in .pdf. Well, come on, B.
These are hard letters to find sometimes.
And sometimes those will retrieve articles that have been published in different journals that are posted at universities or that are coming from universities, and you might be able to come across some very interesting information that way.
Bob Jones University. What is that? I've never heard of Bob Jones.
Bob Jones. Oh, I'm forgetting that.
Crazy. All right, so these are the play.
That may be the play. Mm-hmm. You know, Googling for information sometimes can be more complicated than using the databases, because you have so many different things that are posted there. You know, nobody is organizing everything for the rest of us.
Wow, look at all the notes just on the first page.
Now, Google does have its own advanced search. If you don't remember, you know, how to put all these different elements together, I believe you can go over to the corner, upper right corner. Maybe not. Let me see. I'm used to my computer that has its own little
Toolbar up there.
yes, little toolbars. And I'm just going to Google advanced search. There's a little, it looks like a little gear. Here we'll go. Google advanced search. There we go. And you can plug in the terms and narrow it down. It's sort of in a way like we were doing with the other databases. All these words. Hamlet, Ophelia. You might even put in the words literary criticism or analysis, or other words that show up in a typical article that would be analyzing part of the play.
So you just have space between Hamlet and Ophelia? There's no character in there?
I don't think you have to have any, you know. And below that, this exact word or phrase. If it had to be, you know, exactly the words exactly in a certain order, you could put it in this box down here.
Can you skip that one and go down to any of these words and just put relationship?
Mm-hmm. And this would be good if you can think of many different ways to say the same thing, or related keywords, but you're not sure exactly which one might be best. You could plug in multiple terms here.
Affair.
Affair. If you're talking about like Hamlet and or Gertrude and Claudius, you know, marriage, adultery, things like that. In fact, we'll go up here. We want to keep Hamlet as the play probably, but we'll put in Gertrude, Claudius. And then below that, you can say, okay, last updated. In this case, any time would be fine, probably. Site or domain, that's where you can say, okay, .edu. That might be a good thing to throw in there. Terms appearing anywhere on the page, and the title and the text, you could experiment with that. Filter or file type, any format. Adobe PDF would be good. Excel, probably not. PowerPoint, probably not.
I figured Excel, no.
Yeah, Word might be okay. Rich text format might be okay.
Flash, good heavens.
Yeah, you can. Gertrude's role in Hamlet, Digital Commons, Eastern Michigan. I bet that's Eastern Michigan University.
Probably. I was thinking ENMU because they were over at Building 3 yesterday. All right, so there's Gertrude's role in Hamlet. If you're going to look at her, there's possibilities. And you might find, the reason is you might find some things that have never made it into a database.
That's right. At the bottom it says, this open access senior honors thesis.
That would
It's
be
brought to you.
acceptable. A senior honors thesis would be acceptable.
Brought to you by the Honors College. And then there you go. And you have up at the top a way to download it, a way to print it. You know, of course you could save it.
Now, things like this are not going to have, the citations. You would have to figure out how to cite one of these kind of sources with the help of either Purdue or the MLA that came with your textbook last semester, or the little updated book that I sent to the facilitators. Do any of you have any, would you like Ms. Pineda to search anything for you, to just back on the databases, just to show you another search? Anybody have a topic yet? No. Okay, that's one of those things. Can you show them maybe a way to come up with a topic?
Yes.
Is that Credo? Is that what we're talking
We can go back to the library page.
Okay.
One thing that this database finder, this section on English, really doesn't show you are the items that are in the e-book collections. And some of those would be some of the reference books that have literary criticism in them. So if you go back to the home page of the library in MySPC, there of course is the catalog, and then below that there's this section on ebooks. Credo, ENGL Virtual Reference, and Salem, and the EBSCO ebook collection would be great places to look if you do want overviews or to find literary criticism that's published in different volumes. For example, I'm going to go to Gale Virtual Reference. And I'm going to close some of these others while we're waiting. It's the same company that is behind the Literature Resource Center that we were looking at earlier. The difference here is the content is coming from different books. So if I go over here and search for Hamlet, okay, I see a list very similar to what I saw before. And there's Hamlet, the play, which I already know is what I want to focus on. And I could search that. And I can see information that's coming from these different books and reference books, able to filter over there on the right just like I could before, search within results just like I could before. But here's this Hamlet, Shakespeare for Students, Critical Interpretations of Shakespeare's Plays and Poetry. I click on that. This is one section from that book. I get information about the citation here. Because it's from the Gale company, if I went to the very bottom, I'd see the citation down there as well. The citation tool is here over on the right. So it's going to show me how to cite just this portion of the book, just like we saw before. And not only is there this plot summary, but the character and themes, style, criticism, all included in this reference book.
I think I have to check this book out. Or they
In the print
downloaded-
version?
Yeah, or either that or they downloaded the e-version or whatever last semester.
The great thing, one thing I like about Gale is that if all of you wanted to see this at the same time, you could. In some of the ebook collections, one person's looking at it and nobody else can see it until that person is finished. In this particular database, you know, all of you could look at the same thing, same time, download, save, print, without really having those other limitations. So under themes, it's going to suggest several. Are these all of them? You know, no. There are many here, but this is not everything you could possibly find out there. Active versus contemplative life. Spying. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Spying as a thing.
Yeah, that might appeal to some of y'all to do research, you know, do the paper about all the spying that takes place.
Right. Vengeance. That's the big one. Taking revenge. and then it goes on to style. So those are just three parts of it. But it can get you started with some ideas, and then again, take that word vengeance, plug it into another search in the journal databases, and even then you have vengeance and revenge. Both of those words you could hunt for. Spying, and this can talk about, well, what do I mean spying? People hiding behind curtains and listening and things like that.
That's what an heiress is.
Yeah.
They do it all the time.
So some of these books can help you get some ideas that can take you to other searches.
I mean, if you wanted to, you could research the role of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Right.
And it's very limited. That's, I was trying to give them ideas where they didn't have to be responsible for the entire play, and when they do the research, they're limited by the characters.
Right. And one thing, again, thinking about the internet and looking at information from websites or at universities, to be able to search the whole play. I was saying that MIT has all the Shakespearean comedies, tragedies, everything online, so that if you were to go over there and search for certain, the word conscience or revenge or guilt or things like that, you could see in the play how those things go across, the play.
So pick up on that when you find the play online, then you can actually, the themes, you can search, see where those words occur within the play, so that you're not having to spend your time paging through all the pages of the textbook or whatever version you're reading it by.
I'm going to see if I can just pull that up and show you what I'm talking about. Hamlet, entire play, complete works of William Shakespeare. This is at MIT. So I thought, okay, this is a good site. They have a Shakespeare homepage. Hamlet is there. It's broken down by different acts, but they also have the entire play. So if I wanted to search, because this is in HTML format, which is great, I can use my shortcut, my Control F, and if I want to look for the word, say conscience, the play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. Okay, there's one instance there. And they later on in another act, how smart a lash that speech.
And so that would speed up, if you, when looking for your quotes from the play, that would speed up that process.
Right. And, this conscience does make cowards of us all. So there, it can, it's like, where in the play was that? What act was that or whatever? You could use this kind of search, this kind of internet resource. So.
Do y'all see the benefit of something like that, where you don't have to spend your time? It's frustrating to spend 30 minutes trying to find a scene in the play or a phrase in the play that you know is there, but you can't come up with it. So this would speed up that part of your writing of the paper.
Miss Thompson?
Yes.
It's Leslie from Lorenzo. So when we cite a quote from the play, do you want us to use our book, or can we use the No Fear Shakespeare on SparkNotes?
Okay, so just remember, when you quote from the play, you always give the act, the scene, the line numbers. So it doesn't really matter, except when you're doing that No Fear Shakespeare, you have to quote from remember, you have to quote from the Shakespearean, the Renaissance English, not the modern translation. So it doesn't matter which book you're reading by to understand. What matters is that you give me the act, the scene, the line numbers. Remember, Roman numeral 3, the three little dots, act 3, scene 3, lines 17 through 18, just like that. So it doesn't matter. Does that get it, Leslie, did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. I just thought you wanted the page number from the book.
No,
if you
don't.
It
when you're quoting from the play, you do not quote from page numbers. Page numbers will be if you've got the PDF of the article that you're looking for, page numbers are what you give on that. That's why the PDF is handier than the HTML when you're writing the paper and quoting from it, because that gives me a page number to go look at. Otherwise, you don't put anything. You just put the author's last name. And we'll spend a little time talking about that too. Do you have any other questions for Ms. Pineda?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you do get stuck, and you do have a question or you're having issues with doing the research, her email's on that, to go to the staff. But if you remember, it was on the right-hand side. You can just send her a question, call her on the phone. I mean, that's their job, is to help students do the research, okay? So, remember, there will be a Connect assignment on Friday. I'll put it in today. I'm gonna probably have something else to do with the research paper, okay? And that's over. So
Yep.
if you wanna, do you
There's
wanna
that.
log in so that it's easier for, and I knocked over your green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's my info there.
Okay.
Okay.
That was a good question at the end. Go, page numbers. No, not page numbers. I said 15 minutes showing them, because they don't know Roman numerals.
Oh, interesting. No, yeah.
I actually wrote, here's Act 1, did the big I did that on the board, you know. It's hard to write in here too. I have to make space on there. And, you know, I'm sorry that I had to write in the middle, because the kids at Spire.
No. I'm glad, because like, I'm not sure what.
We're done.